This review covers the re-released Squad Rod Chevy Nova in 125 scale. It's AMT model kit number 851, and it hasn't been seen since the 80s. It was originally an MPC kit number 1-0744 and now packaged in Retro Deluxe boxing under the MPC line. It's rated as skill level 2 for the intermediate builder, and this kit started life as an annual stock Nova, then became a breakout kit with hot rod parts and police parts to make it the Squad Rod. In the box you get almost 125 pieces molded in black, chrome, clear blue, and clear red. There's vinyl tires and a metal axle and water slide decals, and the instructions are typical fold-out sheet. Now, detail is all over on this one. The motor has nice detail, and you can get stock or street options, but the interior has shallow details and is mediocre at best. But the police options are nice, and the chassis is very simplistic, and the body, however, is very crisp and clean with moldings and details that were good, with only minor mold lines. Now, the overall fit and finish was good, and the dimensions when done are 8 inches in length, 2 3/4 inches wide, and 2 3/4 inches high. Here are the decals for this kit. As you can see, the colors are great and the registry is good. I think that these will make a nice addition to your Squad Rod if you choose to make the police car option, so don't be afraid to cut them out and slap them on, but make sure that you use some of that decal setting solution. For most of the construction, I use Model Master liquid cement and sometimes a slow setting tube glue, but other adhesives are used too for strength like super glue and white glue for clear parts. Mostly the paints are Tamiya acrylic bottle paints that are shot through an airbrush, or rattle can paints that can be used for things like primers. Here's my version of the open box review. Some guys have picked these parts up and talk about them, each and every one, but I find that that won't help you build your model. So here's my open box review in 15 seconds or less. All the parts are black, so for ease of painting, I decided to spray them with a good quality primer in a medium gray to give them a neutral color for painting later. First up, decide which rims you want to use for your build, and then paint the rim backs flat black with the outer rim aluminum. Insert a rim front into the tire and a rim back into the backside. To give the tires a street-worn look, press and roll the tread on a sheet of fine sandpaper. And note that the rear tires are larger than the front tires, and that the pins go in the front tires. Gather the parts for the motor and assemble the block, heads, and timing cover. Then paint the motor orange with an aluminum transmission. The belt is rubber and the pulleys are black. On the oil pan, the oil filter is blue and the starter is black. Install the oil pan, starter, belt, alternator, fan, and valve covers. Choose the parts that you want for the stock or the street version. I used the parts for the street version for my kit. Assemble the headers and paint them steel. The intake is steel. The distributor's tan colored. And install the headers, the intake, the carbs, and the distributor. Then, to detail the carbs, I used a 50-50 wash of flat black and thinner. Now we move to the chassis and get these parts out for that. And since I used the street rod version, I'm going to remove all of the exhaust pipes and mufflers, etc. If you use the stock version, you just leave them, but cut the exhaust at the red lines noted by the arrows here, and then discard the muffler and exhaust pipes. Install the rear suspension with the torsion bars. Install the front A-arms and the wheel mount tabs. Then add the transmission mount. Assemble and install a radiator. Now paint this whole unit flat black. Detail all the lines with the silver gel pen or Sharpie marker, and then paint the gas tank steel. The drive shaft is steel and it's installed with the motor. And once the motor is in place, then you can install the side pipes. Use a dab of glue on the end of the pins and install the front tires into the suspension. Then using the metal axle, install the rear tires into the rear axle. Flip it over and you now have a rolling chassis for the rest of your build. Get these parts out and paint the hose a rubber color, and then the bottles are white with black caps. The battery is black with steel terminals and green caps. and install everything in place on the wheel wells and the radiator wall. We can go to the interior next, so pull these parts out and paint the interior flat black on the floor with semi-gloss doors and seats and dash. Then detail any of the trim in silver with a silver gel pen or a silver Sharpie or a fine brush. Then install the seats and the shifter. Grab the dash and the steering wheel, and we will install the dash after we do some detailing here. There's no gauge decals, so either print some out with a color printer from the internet images that you find and glue them in place with some white glue, or do the best you can with a detail pen or pencil like we talked earlier. Glue the dash into place in the slots in the interior, and then glue the steering column into place underneath the dash. One of the highlights of this kit are some of the bonus parts for the police equipment, so go ahead and detail those as you find as you can find images on the internet, however you like. Back then I think that most of the weapons still had wooden stocks, etc. Paint the firewall body color and detail the wires and the heater core, and then the brake booster is black and steel and installed on the firewall, and the firewall is then installed onto the interior. Wet sand the body and look for any blemishes. Now, mold lines are usually found along the roof lines and the trunk lines on this model, so remove any of those that you see fit with some fine sandpaper and any other blemishes you might come across. And primer the whole car, then wet sand it again and check your work to prepare it for paint. Make sure that if there are any defects noted that you repair those before you go to final color. Your final work should be in at least 1000 grit sandpaper. Spray your body parts with your choice of body color. I used a metallic black for mine because I wanted a black and white street rod with a metallic sheen to it. Now get the decal sheet out and use some of that setting solution as I suggested, and plenty of warm water so that you can move the decals around, especially these big side decals, to make sure that they conform to all the body's contours. Let the decals dry overnight and then clear coat your body to seal them into place. I highlighted the chrome with some foil applications, but it's just like tape. You cut off a piece the size and shape of the trim, and then you just stick it into place on the feature and then cut off the excess with a sharp hobby knife. But you can also use a Sharpie or a silver gel pen to try and highlight the trim as well. I got the glass out and dipped it into a tub with some Pledge Floor Care product. It really makes them look thinner and crisper and more clear. So wick off the excess and let that dry. Now turn the body over and install the window glass into the cab using some white glue or some clear part cement. Install the interior tub into place, and once the interior is in position, you just start at the front and install the chassis onto the body. It'll slide in, and you should only need to widen the sides a little bit to get it to snap in there. I just used a few dots of super glue on the edges of the chassis and body to hold it in place. I decided to make a custom license plate for my squad rod to personalize it, so I took an image of my logo, printed it out with a color printer on plain paper, then covered it up with some glossy Scotch tape, and then cut it out and trimmed it so that it will fit into the license plate holder. Grab these parts to finish the front end. I used that 50-50 wash of flat black and thinner on the grill, and then the blinkers are transparent orange. The bumper pads are flat black. Now install the grill and then drill 2 holes in the bumper for the push bar. Install the bumper, push bar, and the spoiler, and then add your license tag. Collect these parts to finish up the rear end. Now the bumper pad is flat black. The tail lights are transparent red. Install the tail lights and the bumper, then add your license tag there. Gather these parts to add the finishing touches to the construction, and then build the light bar and add that to the roof of the car. Add the antenna to the trunk. Assemble and paint the radar unit gray and add it to the driver's side. Then paint the spotlight and add that to the fender. Due to the many options in this kit, you're going to have some leftover parts. So just put these in your parts bin for the next time. Well, there you have it. This neat build fit together pretty well. Overall, the details are on the slight side, especially the interior, where we really could have used some gauge decals, but police cars weren't known for flashy interiors anyway. This is kind of typical of the modeling, manufacturing of models at the time, so the kit was kind of a mashup of parts from different kits. The original Nova and the police parts from the Dukes of Hazzard Monaco, the hot rod parts from a different kit, but we love these cars, and we're glad that they're bringing them back again for us to build. They're not show quality, but they are fun to build, and they look great on the show. So I suggest that if you want an easy a weekender or a 1 week build that gives you a real charge, that this is going to fit the bill just perfectly. We hope you like this premium quality step-by-step review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you can find us on Facebook and also at our website, www.rightonreplicas.com. Thanks!
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.